Patriots Nation, today's about the big decisions that get disguised as small details. One roster call can save real cap space and still end up costing your quarterback clean pockets. At the same time, there's a dream name being floated around the offense that sounds like pure fantasy, but it keeps popping up for a reason, and if you're New England, you at least have to pick up the phone. And here's the piece people aren't connecting. When you move one part, you're not just changing the depth chart, you're changing the whole plan, the whole Patriot way of building a winner. So let me ask you straight up, do you want full aggression right now, or do you want surgical patience? Drop your take in the comments, and if you ride with the Pats, hit like and subscribe, because by the end, I'm going to tie a hidden thread that connects all of this, clean and simple. There are decisions that hurt more behind the scenes than they do on Sundays, and the name in that territory right now is Harold Landry III. Christopher Price of the Boston Globe believes there's a real chance Mike Vrabel could consider cutting the pass rusher Vrabel himself brought in. That isn't some tiny paperwork move. That's a statement. We're talking about a guy who arrived with the expectation of being a cornerstone piece. Early on, it looked like it was all lining up. Immediate impact, sacks, pressure, that edge that makes an offensive line start playing faster than it wants to. Then the season kept moving, the production cooled off, and the injury factor showed up. And suddenly what felt like a lock turned into a question, and it's an expensive question. The impact is pretty straightforward: money, production, and trust. Vrabel has to decide if he's paying for what Landry already proved he can do in this kind of system, or if he's chasing a healthier, more explosive option going forward. Because yes, 8.5 sacks led the team, but it also didn't turn the defense into a closing unit that could slam the door every single time it mattered. And now we're right in the middle of the debate that splits a fan base. Do you keep a guy who's shown he can produce, even if the season got choppy? Or do you cut now, take the cap savings, and swing for a higher ceiling? I want a straight vote. Are you keeping Landry, or are you moving on? The paths are clear. If Vrabel keeps him, he's betting on recovery, familiarity, and the idea that continuity can lift the pass rush into something steadier week to week. If he cuts him, he's sending a cold message. Nobody's guaranteed a seat, and this defense is going to chase a more dominant piece. But every message like that has consequences inside a locker room. And here's the part that hits harder than any box score. Landry has hinted he might need surgery this offseason. Think about that for a second. That changes the whole conversation. This isn't just about what he was, it's about what he'll be. If the recovery drags, New England could open the season without its top edge threat. If it's quicker and he comes back with juice, cutting him now becomes the kind of mistake you talk about for years. Timing is everything in the NFL, and being wrong by a couple months can cost you an entire playoff run. And when one door starts closing quietly, it's usually because another one is about to crack open in Foxborough. There are rumors you ignore, and then there are rumors you pretend to ignore, while you're already picturing the jersey. Over the last few weeks, analysts have kept floating Justin Jefferson as a potential trade target. Nothing is confirmed. There's no public negotiation. It's speculation. But it's the kind of speculation that doesn't come out of nowhere, especially when the Minnesota Vikings are sitting in a complicated spot at quarterback. Before we even get to the name, think about the situation on the Patriots side. Drake Maye showed he can carry this team. He showed poise, arm talent, leadership. But we also saw moments where it was obvious what the offense didn't have. That true, tilt-the-field target who changes the geometry of a defense before the snap. The kind of player who forces safeties to back up, corners to get help, and coordinators to call a different game. Without that, everything gets tighter, harder, more crowded. Now here's the point. Jefferson is 26, and he's put up 6 straight 1,000-yard seasons, every single year of his career. That's not just production, that's an elite standard. If Minnesota is even willing to listen, New England has no choice but to make the call. Not because it's a luxury, but because chances like that don't show up often. The impact would be immediate. Jefferson doesn't just give you numbers, he changes how Maye plays. More confidence, more spacing, more chunk plays. Defenses would have to choose, roll coverage and open up other options, or live with the consequences. And for a young quarterback, that kind of weapon accelerates development in a way no offseason program ever will. But here comes the dilemma that forces you to pick a side. Do you give up premium draft capital and commit major money to one player? Or do you keep building a deeper, more balanced roster the patient way? If you were the GM today, are you going all in, or are you sticking to the original plan? Two roads. If the Patriots get aggressive and somehow land Jefferson, the offense jumps into a different class, and the Super Bowl stops being a long-shot dream and becomes a realistic expectation. But if the price gets too heavy, you're risking years of roster flexibility and shrinking your margin to fix other problem spots. If New England decides not to enter that sweepstakes, the message is patience and trust in internal growth. But patience has a cost when your quarterback looks ready to win right now. And here's the quiet truth. Sometimes bringing in a star isn't just about the star, it's about whether you can protect the whole plan that comes with him. Everybody looks at a Super Bowl run and assumes the offense must have been fine. And yeah, the offense moved the ball. But at the same time, Maye finished that game banged up, under heat, and limited. And that exposed something uncomfortable a lot of people didn't want to sit with. The offensive line helped get you there, and it also put your quarterback in danger way too often. Garrett Bradbury is the perfect example of that contradiction. He started every game. He brought experience. He helped set protections and stabilize the middle. But stability isn't dominance. The Patriots gave up 47 sacks in the regular season and another 21 in the playoffs, numbers that are just too high for a team trying to live in the Super Bowl every year. And now, Chad Graff of The Athletic has suggested Bradbury as a potential cut candidate. The impact is cold math, cap space, and a chance to reshape the front. Bradbury carries a $7.5 million cap hit with only $1.2 million in dead cap. In normal language, it's easy to move on. And when it's easy to move on in this league, teams usually don't hesitate. But this is where the real argument starts. Do you keep the veteran who knows what he's doing? Or do you hand that spot to Jared Wilson and hope the younger option grows into it fast? Be honest, does that excite you? Or does it worry you? Because the scenarios go two ways. If Wilson steps in at center and levels up, the Patriots save money and get younger, more athletic, with a higher ceiling up front. That's a foundation you can build on for years. But if he struggles, you're walking Maye into another season of hits, and quarterbacks don't forget that. Not physically and not mentally. There's also the domino effect. That saved money can go right back into the line, maybe a veteran guard like David Edwards or Wyatt Teller. That changes the entire unit because offensive line play is chemistry. It's trust. One weak link turns third and long into survival mode. And here's the truth nobody loves saying out loud. Super Bowl windows don't close only when stars leave. They close when you fail to protect the biggest one you have. And as that decision gets closer, there's another quiet bet that could reshape the identity of this offense in the tightest parts of the field. If this bet hits, the Patriots offense could add a weapon that changes the map. Connor Orr of Sports Illustrated predicted New England could sign either Kyle Pitts or Isaiah Likely this offseason. That's not a deal. It's a projection, but it's rooted in a real need and real cap space. The impact starts with a number that matters more than it sounds. The Patriots ranked 20th in touchdown efficiency in the red zone. That means drives that looked good between the 20s didn't finish with 7 points often enough. And that's exactly where high-level tight ends can be the difference, because they win in tight spaces where windows disappear and you need a quarterback to trust the throw right now. Now the conflict hits the heart of Patriots Nation. Hunter Henry is still productive, still reliable, still respected. But a player like Pitts has the potential to be a true long-term TE1, an every-week mismatch for years. And Likely, even if he's not the headline name, brings youth, athleticism, and a cleaner price tag with real red zone production. So what's the priority? Keep the safety you know, or chase the upgrade that changes your ceiling? If you were the GM, are you paying up for the higher profile swing? Or are you taking the cheaper athletic bet with upside? The paths are pretty clear. If Pitts arrives, you're adding a rare athlete at the position. He forces defenses into uncomfortable matchups, stretches the seam, and can be a problem on third down and in the red zone. But it also likely pushes Henry into TE2 territory and sets the table for Henry to walk later. And those aren't just football decisions. Those are locker room decisions. If it's Likely, you strengthen the present without detonating the budget. He's flashed as a real scoring threat, and that directly targets one of the biggest weaknesses, finishing drives. but he may not deliver the same immediate fear factor that a Pitts-type name brings. There's always the quiet option too. Do nothing and trust what you have. But trusting too hard in what already fell short is a risk championship teams usually don't take. Because when the field shrinks and everything tightens, who you choose as your weapon tells you exactly who you believe this team is. Now tie it all together. A potentially painful defensive decision, a dream offensive swing that could redefine the ceiling, protection up front that still needs a real answer, and a red zone weapon that could decide games by inches. The hidden thread is simple. These Patriots aren't building slowly anymore. They're choosing where to accelerate. That means calculated risk right now to protect Drake Maye's prime. So I'll ask you again, are you going all in today, or are you waiting one more year? Drop your take, hit like, and subscribe, because the next move could define this entire era.